Hey, hello chess lovers, and welcome back to Chess Way. In this video, we're diving into a super exciting game played between Adolf Anderssen and Dufresne. This masterpiece happened in 1852. All right, guys, Anderssen starts with e4 and e5, knight f3, knight c6, then bishop to c4 and bishop to c5, the classic Juco piano opening. Now, Anderssen chooses a very aggressive line with b4. The Evans Gambit, guys. Perfect for you guys who love to attack, and attack. Jin accepts the gambit, and of course, pawn to c3 hits the bishop, and after the bishop retreats to a5, Anderssen continues with d4. Black accepts the offer, but Anderssen does not recapture. Instead, he goes for short castle. Wow. In his positions, Black has many normal developing options, but he pushes pawn to e3. I honestly have no idea what the point of that move is. So Anderssen immediately brings the queen to b3, teaming up with the bishop to attack the weak pawn on f7. Queen out to f6, but this queen is instantly hit by pawn to e5, guys. That pawn sacrifice was for tempo and to open the rook's file. So the queen retreats to a4.
Yeah, because the pawn was not taken, we just support it with rook to e1. And right away, Black blocks it with knight g to e7. But then it gets hit again with bishop to a3. Now, honestly, short castle is still totally fine here, but Dufresne is an absolutely crazy attacking player.
Pawn to b5, my friends. He sacrifices the pawn back. And okay, after the queen grabs it, rook to b8, and the queen slides to a4. Bishop steps back to b6, then knight b to d2. The game continues by bishop to b7, preparing counterplay. Then Anderssen maneuvers the knight to e4, preparing bishop takes pawn on d3. Black answers with queen to f5. And of course, bishop takes the pawn, and now there are threats of knight f6 or knight d6 check ideas. The queen slides to h5 first. And on move 17, Anderssen starts going really aggressive because knight f6 is still a killer threat. Black has no choice. Dufresne takes the knight. After white recaptures, the knight is now pinned by the rook and attacked by the pawn. But before that, Black tries to use the open g file with rook to g8. With this move, the queen becomes an attacker on the knight. The knight has only two escape squares. If knight to d2, then knight to e5 is dangerous. If knight to d4, look at the position of both bishops, the rook, and the queen. White does not move the knight, and instead plays rook a to d1. The knight is free material, and Black plays queen takes knight, threatening queen takes pawn on g2 checkmate. So what now? If pawn to g3, then queen takes pawn on f2 check. King h1, queen back to f3, checkmate. So how does white survive this insane position? As I always say, if you are in a losing position with an unstoppable checkmate coming, always look for your forcing moves. Look for your checks. How many checks does white have here? Only one. Rook takes knight. Yes, Anderssen sacrifices the rook with check. Black recaptures with the knight, and the pawn cannot take because queen takes pawn on g2 is checkmate. White still looks totally lost. Black is up a knight and a rook. It looks completely finished, right? But once again, look at your forcing moves. Queen takes pawn, check, sacrificing the queen. If king f8, then queen takes knight is checkmate. So Black must take the queen. Now white has many checks. But here's a tip. When you have discovered check ideas, look for the double check first. Bishop to f5, double check. If king to c6, then bishop to d7 is checkmate. So Black is forced to go to e8. White still has checks. Bishop to d7, check. If king to d8, then pawn takes knight is checkmate with a pawn. Imagine that. Black is up a rook and a queen, but gets mated by a pawn. So Black cannot go to d8. Only one move remains, king to f8. And here comes the unbelievably beautiful finish. Bishop takes knight, checkmate. This calculation is absolutely brilliant by Adolf Anderssen. Not only did he avoid an unavoidable-looking checkmate, he delivered a stunning finish with 2 bishops and a pawn, while black had a rook and a queen. This game teaches us never give up and always look for your forcing moves, especially double checks. All right, chess lovers, that's the video for today. If you enjoy games like this, please click like and subscribe to Chessway so I can stay motivated to make more content. If I said anything wrong, I'm sorry. Thank you, and see you next time.